Hello and welcome to She Said What, an online lesbian talk show. We all know that elections are heating up, and I just heard an amazing, you're the one who told me the other day, what is it, 45%?
Yeah, I think the statistic from the recent Gallup poll showed that I think it was 30% of Americans wouldn't vote for a Mormon for president, and something like 45% wouldn't vote for a homosexual.
We're in a pretty decisive, if not like interesting part in our kind of electoral process. We could have the first woman president, we could have the first black president, but is America really ready for that?
I think so. I think one of the two they're ready for. And what I have a hard time deciding about is which one.
Which one?
Well, I've been thinking of, as a black woman, who is better for me? A black man, or a woman, or a white woman. So it's like, okay, who's going to have my interest at heart? And I think in the LGBT community, you completely, flip that on its head. It's like, okay, well, who's going to be watching out, for us in the White House?
Neither of those candidates supports gay marriage.
The platform that they come up with to get elected always tends to be a little different than when they get into office. It's so much more conservative because they're catering to an audience that is more conservative. So I think a lot of more of like the liberal thoughts come out once they come into office.
So you think they might
not be... Because it's a secured position.
Like the
maybe Hillary, once she gets there, would be like, you know what?
Right.
Gay marriage, yes.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Or
came
Obama.
on with the Republican Party, and then, he brought on a lesbian as part of his staff, and open and out lesbian, and it pissed off a lot of people. And he, so he,
But he had the
he
job
made some
security to
interesting-
do it,
Yeah, so I think you might be right. Melissa Etheridge, I think, should run for president, and
She would definitely
I'll be the
do
first
something
one
with
to
the
sign that
environment.
petition.
She would do something with the environment, which would be
Definitely
great.
do
I think it's
something
more
with the
likely
environment.
Ellen would get it.
Ellen would get it.
Yeah, because she
I just
caters
forgot.
to middle America
To
too,
middle
so
America.
let's campaign for Ellen.
But what's
Raise
raise
money
politics,
for Ellen.
though? I think, every time we talk about elections, we get sidetracked about who is hot or who's not hot or who's black or who's not black or who's a woman. But what are your politics? What are you saying? Instead of answering a question like, what are you going to do about the war? Well, the war is very complicated, and what we have to do is really have conversations about the war and come to, some kind of position as to how we will deal with the war. I feel we should demand more from our politicians,
I think we should ask less. I just wanted to say that.
Well, I think with with questions like the war, because it is such a controversial topic, to say something that strong, you can be out.
Okay, let's be honest about the war, though. It really is, I hate to say it, a complicated issue, and there aren't easy answers, and no matter what side you take, it's hard to be a morally, it's hard to figure out what the morally right thing to do is and the politically right thing to do is. The human
you running?
thing to do. No.
That was like a perfect answer
But that's
to
why
the
I
question,
can say
though.
that, because I'm not running. I don't have any investments in the outcome. I'm not trying to spin anyone. I'm just saying, do you know how to solve the war in 10 words or less? Or even 100 words or less? I don't think any of us do.
Although I do think that people are ready to see a candidate, especially from the Democratic Party, that is not a flip-flop, or somebody who is willing to take a stand on something.
When did that
and
word
not
flip-flop
renege.
become a part of our,
When Hugh Grant's hair, I think, is what started it.
We're talking about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, blue state, red state. But I definitely think, especially for the LGBT issue, that the more people that come out, more Republicans are discovering that they have gay daughters and gay sons. So I think,
More people are likely to vote for gay candidates if they know gay people or if more people come out. So another big lesbian with a television platform is our guest today, Kim Stoltz, who you might remember from America's Next Top Model, but she now hosts shows for MTVU, including The Freshman, which is a great music show, and I know she has lots of opinions about politics.
We were
and
talking
music.
backstage, and she's pretty opinionated.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, she is.
Let's bring her out.
So Kim, you did your senior thesis at Wesleyan on exit strategies for international conflict. So in 5 words or less, how do we get out of the Iraq War?
Give her 10 words. Give her 10
Okay,
words.
10 words.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've always been a fan of exit strategies, but not a fan of exit deadlines. And I feel like that is one thing that worries me about Obama. He says the March 2008 deadline. And that, he wants us out by then. He thinks that, if he puts a cap on it,
That'll make it
perhaps
happen.
that'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And 2 things happen when you put a cap. 1, you either fail and then the public isn't behind you anymore, or 2, you rush out and then the conflict is in even more disarray than you started.
Is that possible? Could it actually be worse than it is?
I think that in a month
definitely.
you'll see that it is. I think it's really important that we realize that we all have our views and we talk about gay marriage, and people a little bit older us talk about child health care and all that. But we also need to really pay attention to the college audience and what they think, because they are the most political group in the nation. Colleges are just swarming with political people. and really opinionated people and really active people. And I think, for instance, on MTVU, what I saw is, we had our Sudan campaign, and that raged with the college audience. And so, yes, we talk about these very important issues like gay marriage and abortion and the Iraq War, and all these countless things. But we need to pay attention to some of the issues that are now under the table that perhaps like our college audience, the future of America, is going to be interested in. And I think Darfur is one of those things. And I think it's really important that we do address those things as well. And look at candidates that maybe will address them. I think that's Hillary Clinton actually addressed that and mentioned MTVU in a recent speech, and that meant a lot to me.
Speaking of MTVU, don't you host a show called The Freshman?
Yeah, The Freshman is an amazing show. It's sort of like a TRL, but with better music and less known like people on it. And I think The Freshman is basically a weekly show, premieres every Monday. And I have a panel of 3 college students that sort of rotate in and out every week. And we debut 5 new videos, and then I critique them, and we get the panel's opinions, and if we have to trash them, we do, but we get some good videos on there. And then the audience, by text messaging and by going on mtvu.com, votes for their favorite video of the week. And that one that wins goes onto the MTVU rotation, which then usually graduates to MTV.
So I think we have a clip of The Freshman,
yeah,
actually.
Definitely.
Let's take a look.
Take a look. All right, that was New Young Pony Club with Ice Cream. I thought that was a great video. I mean, it was fun, and I mean, it was like the most Londonite pop video you could ever make. And the bright colors, the outfits, the makeup, the sound. I mean, it was great. What did you guys think?
It reminded me of like a 70s porn, but like with a dessert focus, man.
I
had
feel
a
like
very
they were
like raunchy,
setting up like lesbian erotica
yeah,
the whole
it
time.
had a raunchy
Like,
vibe to
all right,
it.
are you gonna get there? You're not.
So on the show, do you have a lot of college students maybe who write into you? You said on your MySpace they're blowing up your email. Do you have a lot of girls who are like, hey Kim, have you ever considered dating?
Well, I know
exactly.
I know you get a lot of like interesting, fabulous people coming at you now. But do you have like you're beautiful in the way that people consider beauty to be like God? Do you have any horror stories about dating? Did anything bad really happen?
We need to hear bad things.
Yeah, we need to hear how
All
miserable
right,
your life is.
I have a couple of bad date stories. I'll tell you one. I mean, actually, since I've been on the show, I've had the same girlfriend. So no date stories. At least none I'm going to talk about. No, I'm kidding. No date stories.
We'll talk about that after the show.
But no, I mean, right before that, like just before I went top model, I met a girl in a Subway. We went to a cute restaurant, and throughout the meal, I was like, God, I feel like I smell cats. I feel like for some reason
you could stop
I keep
right there.
smelling like kitties. So I went on into her house, and before we went in, we were in the elevator. And I kept smelling these cats, and she had this whole thing where she takes off her shoes before she gets into her house. So we're standing outside the door, and she takes off her shoes, and I look, and I just catch a glimpse inside her sneakers.
Oh God.
And there's kitty litter in it. Okay.
Wait a second.
Oh my God.
Kitty litter in the shoe. Okay?
Kitty litter.
Is this some new workout for your feet that I'm
Well,
not aware
I'll
of?
tell you exactly what it is, because when she opened the door, some people put a box of kitty litter in their bathroom.
No.
Some people put it on the terrace. Some people even put it in the kitchen. No. Her house was the kitty litter. There was kitty litter just sort of all over the place.
Gosh.
In this one room, it was just sort of kitty litter central. And then the cats were just roaming, And she had trained the cats to only go to the bathroom in this corner of the kitty litter. So why is the kitty litter be in the whole room? I don't know. But it smelled so much like what I was smelling all night long, except multiplied by 1,000. And
how long did it take you to get the hell out of there?
I was just I literally I was like, whoa, man. I mean, I'm an outspoken person. I was like, dude, what are you doing with your cats?
Your cats put the litter everywhere.
Your cats are
that is a bad
there's litter
date.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just told her that I thought that was pretty weird, And she was like, no, it's just I'm a huge cat person.
So is this the person you're dating now?
No.
No.
4 years I got out of there real quick, and I never saw her again.
Wow.
Thank God.
That's a bad date story.
Before we go, I did want to make sure that people know MTVU. Where does that air?
On MTVU, if you're on a college campus, chances are you can find it on your television. It's a channel, but anyone can watch it anytime at mtvu.com.
So if you have any bad date stories, or you just really like her work on MTVU, drop her a line if you can find her on MySpace. And that's all we have for She Said What. See you next week.